you co-wrote and executive produced American Underdog, which starred Zachary Levi. Uh, Being on that project, is that kind of what made you think of him for the role of Scott in The Unbreakable Boy?
It's funny, actually. What happened was we shot Unbreakable Boy before we shot American Underdog. But it happened during COVID. So we were about ready to shoot American Underdog when COVID hit and we had to delay. And while we were delayed, I wrote The Unbreakable Boy just because, I was sitting in my home with nothing to do. And we sent it to Zach to say, hey, do you want to make this movie too? And he loved it. So we thought, why don't we we went right into production as one of the first production shooting during COVID. And so we shot two movies back to back in Oklahoma, Unbreakable Boy first. And then while we were shooting Unbreakable Boy, Zach was training to play Kurt Warner. He was working on his football skills.
Oh, that's so fun. That's such a cool story. I wanted to ask about the use of the imaginary friend. Was that something in the book, or was that a way to kind of get like his own thoughts onto the screen in a pretty fun way without him being the narrator?
Yeah, it's a good question. It was very interesting because when I read the book, I really wanted to take the perspective and of Austin, as the autistic child to narrate the story. But there was a mention in the book where Scott, he's such an interesting guy, and he commented on how he would talk to himself a lot. And his mother made fun of him, I think, and said that he must have an imaginary friend named Joe. And it was kind of just a little throwaway line somewhere. But I thought to myself, I wonder, could we do this? Could we narrate the movie from the autistic child and then also give the father an imaginary friend? And I think it worked out really great. And it also brought me the gift of meeting Drew Powell, the actor who plays Joe, who I just love so much.
Yeah, he's such a bright spot in the film for sure. And you mentioned Scott, the real life. You wrote the book with Susie Flory. How did you come across this book?
It was Peter Facinelli who brought it to us, actually. I was developing some projects with Lionsgate. Peter had come to us and said, I have this book that I just think is really, really special. I read it and it timed out perfectly that when COVID hit and I was looking for something else to write, I was like, man, this is a really charming family story that I think we could do, at the right scale during COVID when we could only have, a few people on set at a time. And so it kind of just came to us. And Peter has just been such a passionate advocate for this story from the very beginning and such a great friend. And he's in the film as well, of course, as Pastor Rick.
And my last question for you, we see their pictures at the end. How involved were the real Scott and Teresa with the film?
Oh, Scott and Teresa and Austin and his brother Gavin have been just incredibly. Sorry, Logan is his brother's name. Gavin is the actor who played him. So Scott and Teresa and their whole family have been incredibly involved since the very beginning. And to this day, we text together all the time. So they were on set visiting. They were great consultants for me. They've been such huge advocates for us the whole way. I think it's crazy for them to see their story, put on screen in this way. They're really, really proud of it and so excited.